Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Booyaka! That's all I can say about Stranger Things 2. It was off the hooksy. I'm here with my boy Petey, Prime Minister, P Money, you name it, anything with a P is him. Okay? And we're here to talk about Stranger Things 2. Did you like it? Damn yeah, we liked it.
I'm going to try to fight to keep him from pulling spoilers, but we should say spoilers because he's just going to blurt out.
God damn it, if you haven't watched it, you're getting spoilers. Screw you. Okay?
So we have the kids back. We have our favorite kids that are like our new age Goonies, but it's back in the day, still the 80s, still like 1984. So you have that year, and we have Will back, right? We have Will back. He's with the crew, and it's interesting to see this new dynamic as we used to just seeing the four kids together, and then they also mixed up things because 11 pops up and she's with the sheriff, right?
She's with the sheriff.
So
interesting dynamic. I mean, it's like a father-daughter relationship almost, because he lost a daughter, and I guess he basically comes back with 11 trying
Yes.
to be the father for her. And it's actually, I thought it would be whack, but you know what? It actually works, kind of.
Well, the fight scenes between 11 and the sheriff, it's so many real moments in her acting.
Oh, my
like,
God.
that's like when you got a grown teenager and some of the little bit of like, what did he just say? Like the stuff you can see in her eyes is just so amazing. So it was...
And she's using her powers against him. Yes, spoiler.
Yeah.
She's using her powers when she's arguing with him sometimes. She's not killing him or anything, but she's like, get out! And she's just using her powers to push the boy out. You know, because he's telling her, I mean, what's the key thing here? He's telling her to stay where she's at.
trying to keep the people from coming back. So then he's like, if she stays in the house, they have this house, you have this home.
Cabin out in the woods.
Yeah, so they're like, let's not. And then they also want to, there's two plot lines going, and they want to switch you off because we don't know, we should see some tough scenes of 11 having to survive and taking and knocking out some guy in the forest and eating stuff in the wild before she gets to the cabin.
Right.
So we're thinking this is leading to her going darker.
Right.
And when she has these fights, so we got that storyline going, and then we have, we have Will who's seeing this. What's it like, the mind ripper?
Demogorgon?
Yeah, like they have this
Something
big.
like that.
So he's having these slips that are going on. So there's two aspects, but we're more concentrated on 11 because we know her powers. We know Will is a victim, but it's interesting to see. Like the dynamic is kind of changed because they're all into Mad Max. This girl who's just came into town, and she's like she's a sort of tomboy, but she's just about to lead the tomboy stage. But her tomboy stuff is coming from her trouble with her brother. There's a new cool guy that sort of takes Steve's place.
stepbrother,
Yeah, so it's a lot of different things that are going on in the dynamic of the town. So
In the crew.
In the crew. So we see, and then what was it? They do have a little Halloween thing where Halloween they go out as Ghostbusters, but no one in school has a Ghostbuster. So there's a lot of fun stuff. We also have Sean Austin in there from Rudy, from
Lord of the
Lord of the Rings, from Goonies. That's the bigger connection to saying he was a dynamic just like this, and we have him in there too.
Dude, I got to give a big shout out. Yo, Sean Austin, made this show for me. His character was like spot on. This guy can freaking act.
But
okay?
did you think he was going to be like someone that was sent to see the family? Like sort of
We thought when I was watching it, we thought that he was a spy or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But the fact is, you find out he is, spoiler, he is truly
Oh
who
gosh,
he
they
is,
did it again.
You know what I'm trying to
They
say?
did
He's
it again.
truly who he is. I mean, he is a hero in disguise,
Oh my
bro.
gosh.
You know what I'm trying to say? He's in love with the mother. That's how he gets entered into it. He's in love with Will's mother. You know, he's the nerdy guy at Radio Shack, you know, but he is like all over. Winona Ryder, I couldn't understand it. But you know what? Hey, you got to get love somewhere, right?
Well, the other thing is that the sheriff they didn't reconcile immediately. So she could possibly fall for the sheriff at that point. But at the same, in season one, but then he's caught up there. So then her time, because she's normal, she's got her son back. So she's just like, I want something. Knowing the sheriff is not there, he's moved on and he's trying to make this life for 11 and make things.
And nobody knows about that.
Yes,
it's underground basically.
Yeah.
And so we have also. Let me go back to Mad Max. Mad Max is coming into town with her stepbrother and her mother, and her mother married her stepfather, and he had a son and stuff like that, who's a psycho basically. You know, he thinks he's God's gift.
But you know, he got good reason to be. He got struggles in home.
Well, you know what? You know, his father's a little bit of a disciplinarian. Yeah, all right, so be it.
A little bit.
Yo,
He's like a drill sergeant.
well,
a
his
drill
son
sergeant
got
with
out of control. You got to put him in spot. You got to put him in spot, bro.
Okay.
But hey, we can agree to disagree. But the point is, though, you know, she, like you said, she's a nerd like them. You know, she does skateboard, so that blows the guys out. She plays Dig Dug, right?
She plays Dig Dug better than them.
And
the thing is that this is what happens when they start to grow up and introduce girls to the dynamic,
right. And
they have this club that they have it as a club, but actually they couldn't get any cool people to stay with them. So he's like, this. What was it? Sorry, I gotta go to my cheat sheet. Mike is like totally pushing away Mad Max. He's not bringing her in, and that's creating a connection between the two of them. Because they had the moment early on where he's like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Where the other two guys, Lucas and Dustin, are like just all around all the time. She's like, the non-attention he's given is bringing them to have this moment, which 11 sees. 11 like breaks out of the place. She sees, and then we get some child reactions out of 11, which is great. Like
child reaction, girlfriend reaction. She sees Mike with Mad Max, and she's like, "Yo, this chick is going far." She's on her skateboard, and she just pulls it out from under, and she slams her head down.
But that's
no child reaction.
But that leads to that is 11 going bad. That's the thing that and this is the thing. We're both comic book readers, so the big part is that they're playing up. We always think in our head, is she becoming Dark Phoenix, right? Is she going to be like an X-Men Jean Grey, the Dark Phoenix saga? But that's a MacGuffin. They're tricking us, but they gave us so much great stuff with 11's mother, and then going, like, people always talk about they don't like when she went to the city. They go to Chicago?
I think it's Chicago.
They go to Chicago. She goes to Chicago, and she meets the other kid that was with her.
Kali.
And they're like, you know, she's using her powers to steal and or kill people that, you know, had them had them captured, and using their powers to do all this weird thing to open up the other side. So when the part says, like, you're looking at, she's going to go bad, she's learned about her powers, she has this Pinocchio thing, because every movie sort of has a Pinocchio aspect of going off into another thing and finding yourself and finding who you really are. They tricked us because they were giving us the Dark Phoenix saga right in our face, and it was actually with Will. Because in the Dark Phoenix saga, Dark Phoenix, we think of Dark Phoenix as a character who...
As a girl.
No, who gets this power and then she can't control it.
Right.
But that's not what the Dark Phoenix saga is about.
No.
Dark Phoenix saga is closer to this, where a character connects and basically is resurrected. Like Will is sort of resurrected and brought back to life in this world, but he's connected to all this terrible stuff, right?
The enemy.
So then he's possessed. There's a scene where he's possessed, just like, so the time slips happen in the Dark Phoenix saga because Mastermind is trying to push her to be evil. Right. So it's not her losing control, it's him pushing out the dark points in her. So they have these time slips just like the Dark Phoenix.
Oh wait, Sean Austin is the one who told him to
But
to fight
his-
the bullies. Don't be afraid of what's scaring
But he
you.
couldn't do anything with that.
I know he could.
There was nothing. It
So
was
what
good
happened-
advice. That's why it also led to us feeling that he's a bad guy. Bob, how could Bob? You set it up to be. Is he a part of the other?
So what happened? In
Upside
that
down?
Scene, Will was confiding in Sean Austin, his character, and saying, hey, people, I have fears, and he's saying if you want to confront the fears, you have to fight it back. You have to be tough. You have to stand your ground. Fight. Well, as opposed, every time he saw that Demogorgon creature coming after him, he would run away. He said, stand there and confront. So he stood there and confronted him. What happened? It took him over.
Well, we had to see another scene where he gets fully possessed.
Yeah.
So, but this presented another thing because everyone looks at Dark Phoenix and say, "Oh, Dark Phoenix killed. She had to die. This, that, and the other." This presented the same thing where Will does something very bad and causes a lot of people to die, and as fans, when we see it sucked out of him, because we like the character, we're like, "Yeah, that's good enough for me."
But it's not.
Yes,
It's
it
not.
is.
It's not good
yes,
enough.
it
for me.
is. You didn't
Because
say that till we just said that now.
No, but I've been struggling with
No,
that
you
lately.
didn't
No, I've
struggle
been
with
struggling
it.
with that lately. Like
No,
when
you
a
did
character,
not.
when is the difference between a character? When a character, how much? How
It was they also look at it. You have to look at what the story was too. The story also put them in a place where it wasn't Will when he didn't recognize Bob. He couldn't recognize the mother, so
I
it was
agree, I get
something
that.
else. You
I
can't.
get
We can't go to the internet saying is we don't like mind control. We don't like mind control. We say anything mind control. Oh, that means you can't. He doesn't take the blame for killing.
But you can say the same thing about behavior control. If you control someone's behavior, and
What do you
control them
mean?
to do, like you
You talking like pimp quality, causing like
I'm just- I'm just saying.
what's that guy Charles Manson sort of thing? No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about
I'm just
if
saying
Charles Manson possesses you and then causes you to like a puppet, a puppeteer. But I'm saying it's interesting that they were able to do a 9-part story where you get to see how the Dark Phoenix could play out. Because they keep trying to do Dark Phoenix in cartoons and whatnot as one episode or a movie, one story, and it's like it needs time to develop, have the time slips, have someone being possessed, and that's when like they got me because I'm thinking 11's going bad, and then when she comes back at the end, you're just like wow, and then she of course pushes Max aside again.
But tell them what happens when she comes back. She comes back because when she goes to Chicago and Callie's trying to get her to kill some of the people that made them the way they were, she then starts to realize this is not what she wants. You know what I'm trying to say? And so Callie is like her sister. Callie, and of course, Callie, what is that? The I'm not even going to say it. So I think it's represents the goddess of death. But Callie is, they have a connection. Callie has the ability to control your mind and what you look at.
like illusions.
Illusions, while she controls the more physical aspects of
Yeah.
stuff. So what
Like
happens
telekinesis and
Telekinesis.
pyrokinesis,
Exactly.
possibly.
So what happens is that she leaves that style, but now she realizes, because Callie tells your power is within you. You know, the angrier you get, well, that's one way to channel it. I guess the Jedi's aren't gonna like that, but the anger.
Yeah, it
you
was
have, you
definitely
can power.
a Jedi moment. Yeah.
She comes back, and all of a sudden, in the house, they've gone after this Demogorgon, and they thought they figured it out, but the Demogorgon sends these hounds, these demi-dogs after them to kill them, and most of them, the key characters, the sheriff, the crew, they're all in the house, and they're being surrounded, and they're about to die, and all of a sudden, and this is the great use of just sound without sight. You
Yes,
don't see
yeah, yeah.
anything. They're in the house, and you can hear the demi-dogs coming around, and it's like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to get, and all of a sudden you start hearing, boom, 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 like something is happening out there, and you're like, what the hell is going on? You don't hear the dogs no more, and the door opens up, and a Converse sneaker comes in, and so bam, who is it? 11. And
Well,
you're like, yo, his hair slicked back,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and you're like, yo, kick ass, yo.
Well, it's cute. It's cute. It's a little kid, and she got the power. She got hair now. But what about I guess the last thing to talk about, because it was a big ending. It was a nice ending, setting up, and it's like saying, I would enjoy watching these characters for a couple more seasons. But what about Dustin and the little monster? Taking like the Goonies moment,
Yeah,
like
where
the
he-
Goonies chunk moment, like he's trying to kick this monster, and the monster
pet.
eats a cat, and then it just becomes a problem.
Well,
Like, do you think did that work for you, or did it hinder the story?
Actually, it didn't hinder the story. So what happens? Dustin, he found like a little
The
slug.
one that Will threw up.
Yeah, like a little small one, and he thought it was just a little little slug or something weird, but it started growing, and the more he fed it, the bigger it got. He was feeding it nothing but candy.
Just
most of
like
the time.
the Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, exactly, like Little Shop of Horrors. And so what happened is that it grew bigger and bigger, ends up killing the cat, and he's like, yo, we got to do something with it. And that's why he brings Steve. Steve, who was Nancy's boyfriend, was an excellent character here.
Yes,
You
it's
know what I
good,
mean?
to bring, good that you
He
brought
comes with
this back.
Negan's bat.
He's
you know.
not. He already had a bat.
All
in
right,
the
but
other
you know
one.
what? I think Negan was out before.
Negan can't keep. You can't go to anyone
Everything
has
is
a
Negan
bat.
now.
No, it's
Negan.
not Negan. I don't talk that way. I don't like you using that type of word here. Okay.
What?
No.
Oh,
Negan,
my
please don't even try that.
So Lucille.
Oh, God, that's even worse.
All right, so he comes. He steps up as a hero. He loses Nancy as a girlfriend, but he steps up as a hero. And I think he turns out much better than anything before. But yeah, the little.
Well, the aspect of having is cool to have when you had Max and you have Steve, and then it's like, this is the stuff that we struggle with as kids. Like you have the girl at your age, and then you're like 12, and you're like, oh, it's finally we connecting, and then someone like 4 years older is like, oh man, it's ruined now because she's just staring at him for the rest of the day. So that's a real moment for kids.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, with the Demi dog that Dustin was bringing together, it's at the very end they're trying to get out of this tunnel system that the Demogorgon had developed, and where the dogs are able to go from different parts of the town and attack people at will, you know, and congregate. And when they're getting ready to go, they meet one, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're caught, we're gonna die." And then he realizes, "Hey, this is my little fella." You know what I'm trying to say? And he gives them candy, and it lets them go by.
Well,
you know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, the candy is for us, the storytelling wise, but it's similar to like that lion that people had in their house and got too big.
Yeah.
And they put it into the wild, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a lion," and the lion jumps on them and like hugs them,
Exactly.
and knows not to kill them and eat them. It's like, oh, I remember
He was
these
kind
guys.
to them, right?
Yes.
So I mean, I think it worked. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I
thought
liked
was okay.
it.
I thought Dustin's character feeds into that. And then one thing about this show, this season, I think Dustin was the breakout star. You can see him on commercials now. I think he's on some Files or something like now. But
I think he has
a character
his
that stands
character, that stands out. I'm not sure if he was a break for me because I'm more into like a Cyclops sort of thing. So Mike was sort of still the guy for me.
Mike, I don't know. Mike to me just seems. I mean, he seemed lost without 11 the whole.
No,
time.
it was great for me because it put him. I mean, it made him be, not be right about the things he was doing, like saying no to Mad Max, but for no good reason.
Well, he did it because he thought that she would take 11's space. One more thing I wanted to touch base on. I mean, my big problem with the story, and I got to say, I'm going to throw this out. My problem, is that how many times are the government going to make another facility in the same area, in the same town, doing the same things? I don't know. I don't see where this goes from here.
I know.
That's my problem.
I saw Brenner. I saw Matthew Modine as a big bad Magneto. What I always wanted someone that's just totally terrible. And that's what I got out of it, and seeing him just come as her 11's greatest fear,
Her father,
as being amazing, and so it's like the government part is fine because the way they did it, they got messed up again.
Right.
Like they had the whole facility, and these kids had to save the day again. Yeah. And so like maybe they'll stop trying to open this stuff up, but it's interesting. So,
and one other thing, why did we wait till episode? What is it, 9 or 10?
What?
I mean, what episode did they bring in 11? I mean, they really milked it.
I didn't mind that.
So I did. I'm like,
I didn't mind that at all because it was like it gave us her seeing, not her starting from scratch, because she basically had to learn everything, and that's what she learned. But then now, it went back to the movies of old where we didn't have to immediately see her chased by the police every time she gets on the bus. Like, she gets on the bus and nobody notices, right? And then she goes on this adventure. It's going to take a long time. She gets back way late in the series because it took a long time and some time passed. So it felt the timing, and this is what movies don't do well. Movies these days, like to delay some things, and you're like, what's the name? Well, no, they showed us where 11 is. She's on this bus somewhere, so I'm not thinking she's going to be back immediately. And when she's coming back home, then it says it's a considerable amount of time before she gets back home, which is what worked for me.
So you like the whole aspect of the fact that she was in the woods with Sheriff, where she's looking at TV and she's learning about
Yes.
who she is. She's getting her skills and stuff to deal with people. And then she leaves and she goes to find her mother, you know, who the sheriff kept on telling her was dead. And the mother, we find out, who everybody thinks is insane or is just out of it, actually is able to communicate. The things that she keeps
Terrible
saying again
shock
and
treatment
again,
was
that she
something
going through
that,
it.
yeah.
But it all makes sense. And this is where 11 discovers that she has I guess a sibling or a sister or a connection with another girl.
Yeah.
They were working
And
together.
that
And
aspect of trusting people, having her, I guess would be possibly her aunt,
her aunt, right.
calling the police and saying, not knowing who this person is, and being able to see that moment and just get out.
Right.
So,
And then she's going to Chicago to meet her sister Kylie, tries to be part of it and realize that the route that she's going just isn't where she wants to go. And then coming back. That took a long damn time.
I liked it.
Jesus. You know what I'm trying
I
to
liked it. I need you.
That's
you
the
need to
reason I
do
broke it down. I wanted to show you how long it took. It took like a
I
minute
wanna
for me to say that whole
I
thing.
want to say to you, just like the thing that, like, what was it? What's that show that's on? Modern Family.
Uh-huh.
Like the
I
thing
don't watch that.
But Modern Family takes the characters and he mixes them up. So Sofia Vergara is dealing with her married in-laws.
Right.
She's not dealing with Ed O'Neill. So you just keep, and then now it's like, okay, now she's like stepmother to these old people that are the same age as her. So they keep mixing it up, and that's what you do to keep the story stronger, by mixing the characters up and keeping them interacting with different people. So
Okay, enough said. Interesting. I definitely disagree. Enough said. You know what I'm trying to say? So listen, everybody, thank you for stopping by and listening to us talk about the Stranger Things. Check it out. It's really one of the best shows really on Netflix out there. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, there's a ton of great stuff on there, but this is something that is like a 9-hour movie that you can sit and not leave. So when you're watching, you don't feel like, oh man, I gotta go to bed. It's like I powered it through it like this. I think the first weekend it came out, it was just like 1 o'clock till like 10 or whatever it may be. So
I will power through it. I still believe in watching like an hour or two a day.
no.
Okay, so
I needed to get through it.
you guys, man. Peace. Spinner Rack, we're out. It's
Out.
Batman world, baby. Superman just
This
rolls
doesn't
around.
have
Just
anything to
rolls
do. This
around,
has
baby.
nothing to do with this
Later.
episode.